Right, I remember we be about the sports arena. So brass say trans na fe. Ya dey agudi mun sem ba na agudi mun sem no the focus ne say ya be cheche nsem no mu e dey ama na uso afaska na bibia atumi akoye endra utimu say teams no obi mu hadwen papa say Lazio uhia win e dey ra European sport. Na wo gira ha ma aye Palma di kan be show 2 asa na wa betiti 2 ni dey. Na ultimately say obema adwuma na yedin pa no ma adwuma na yedin so still you ginam and a Champions League whereby ultimately say yes one game semi-final game back wa Arsenal bet na Emirates no ne Paris Saint-Germain ultimately e dey abo ani na onim say enye den bed builder no e be koso so match wo ye den yellow cards be do so wo ye den corners be do so telling you because e be crowd we be tia we be twa obi o mo mpene da yellow card ne corners be koso papa enya asem ketwa enti ye behwe na ye di nchirimu no etimi e de abro na enei utimu se news ba ko aba betodwa sa papa na ye fe ne Santi J no ono break Chelsea news about French players mostly no 90% correct. E dey nyina nim say Enzo Maresca de anka nani baako abrante aye fe no for fana. News na ba ne chese abrante no mo se no. Sana ni injury situation netie no. Omo be mana colona na o mede. Omo be person mo clear ni free books ni because ball no ntumi mo. Ono so ka omo jiska kase ho pa nti as part of making sure to more better restructure team no na mo tumi cut down cost and also looking into the future with be at the type of striker or beba because if we know can say report in the say Oro Dario at the abas Real Madrid nya brantia your friend Rodrigo Goes on betwa no e dey finance other part and as other aspect of a team no. They are looking for a left back. Obviously, they will get a right back. Then almost a midfield hono. Almost like certain a type of a profile being tino. A ono no be na fee. Almost out and out striker. Out and out striker. Instead of wingers be na and fast will be answered down your day in his unity. Rodrigo no muse aquano nkwan won ho. Ometime twabe me van say 80 to 72 euros e wo honom na no na say Chelsea kwan bedo is say Chelsea epe somebody impact or the beba be join team na nyama koye na Rodrigo ebetima both flanks and afei left wing hono so no be no modern pa nti ono so oba nti na kire say oje 200,000 pounds in the Chelsea the be me van say 50 bi kura kan wa obetumi ayeden aba na wababe show nti Chelsea pese omo sika sem ne doso wo ombezo mu yom for fun na one of them ball no so a pranko a ko bopo di anka no problem but the pranti omo so mbeja no kwan mbeja no kwan dia omo kofa brand efe ne din housing ena ida okọ Tottenham Hotspur what do you call it Everton omo defender bi wona za defender no o mame Gary Cahill vibes ni ball no say ni obo ni ball no orthodox defenders ni bi as no time for any imbecility ni de ense wo tiawa o waye papa o ye be ma o gina so yes ono ewo Everton bubuku nim nti ono na Chelsea hwe say anase Magui former Chelsea player ene odi ni nkui de ma Crystal Palace no Chelsea be hwe ni mu say ida ono just almost say din horse ne de ono e constant say obeba e wo so ono ba na omo pe aggressive defender ba ko de na aka no yes into defender na me kan asem your friend Gerard Branchwood yes ono ene Magui na Chelsea hwe say omo de ba ko ba be kan ho na is two defenders na eba na is Brantia your friend for fun ade penfo say omo betwa na di eno no news ti e be discuss na ahwe say is it a good thing? Does he deserve a chance? Because you who say injury prone players no certain age bi 2 years bi ombetimi akwa da fi abete akọ a ombejiro mo na so agba ye nyina nim say if he is fit is one of the best defenders you can think of. Obe wan say wako different team no na fi ni injury situation no a stabilize. So Chelsea nya botra na time and ebetumi ade ebetumi achre if you ever be share Champions League, you know, na fe dia kechi na ye dia bremu. Bomodi an join the show no e wo Street is watching e wo Facebook Street is watching e wo Facebook. Bomodi an join here. Yes. Udu an wa share and ye de question of the day no so be bro. Na utwa ya ma invoice. Na coupon. Yes, coupon a usu betumi atwa ye den e de ne matches no ye wi ya sa de all sa den aka ho na de guso na wodi na bibia so no atumi akoye sa so na online no so no my bet online inti bomodi a na join ye ho no so ukọ YouTuber MYBET.AFRICA TV MYBET.AFRICA TV e wo YouTube. Yes, join ye ho na afa bibia enko eye e ho no Oko TikTok sports.arena.news or TikTok saso ena oba Telegram account wona honom na chese nkunyani nyina ekoso horom fomodian nya join Sports Arena SPORTS na watentemu ARENA Sports Arena na fe bibia nso atumi akoye honom Abja for me mama kwaba.
Yeah, list to just list.
Bibia kama there.
Bibia kama.
Okay. Now this is the news. Andra ebe told you about Abrantia your friend Fofana. Was it a shock? And we share the two players are lining up say Omudi Omubeba. What does it mean for the rest? Because Omudi two air bar. I just say ebi mu better than Ebeko. So let's go into it. What does it mean for Chelsea?
Yes, I think news no concerning Fafana Chelsea. If you say be beat me Jan Kwan Amana de Ako Air de Bako, I think to me is a bit disappointing, especially in him saying the style of defense no bono. Eden so beat me in a lot of players, and in him say ball playing defenders or aggressive defenders de Bako Aninya Eden. Even though say or a defender he has a lot to his game. This season, my budget 14 matches per annum Chelsea or the Premier League, meaning he has missed a lot of games. Or a player be a young guy is a Conference League, any other competitions. Nipoman register and count based on the injury history. Now, I think about say club name structure wise, he's one player they could say okay, Nisika 7 in Nyama Eden, I was sure to do. Intina Namen no so no say be as Omunya offer be. Na obetimi up movie ebeboa team ni. On the other hand is or a player be a share the ball playing side that he has a lot to this Chelsea team. Who time our buy into game who the presence on the pitch, the way he commands the field ni nyama ba he adds a lot to Chelsea's game. Into Chelsea beja ne kwaya meaning say they are looking at say there's a player we are letting him go or Chinabino we wouldn't have Ebia nanka yenya yanki kipino anejano ewa around de bakwa issue. But I think he's one player if Chelsea turn a be because I think he has the ability to be one of the best players or the best defenders in this Chelsea setup. But a injury, so now no, if they need to sit down and look at his injury record, you say he has had one type of injury as well. How can they find a solution to it? Say if it's match game, if it's training section, being say be reduce and BB to try and make him stay fitter. I think it's one thing that they need to go out for because you've seen players move from Chelsea. Young players they had a lot of injury problems. They say Pulisic, call AC Milan. We've seen say injury we not call. Young bit say we Ruben Loftus-Cheek. No injuries, baby. Or no so movie call AC Milan injuries we not call. Young we Odoi. Moving to Nottingham Forest, or no injuries back and forth, or no injury now then article. So this is one thing Chelsea has motivation because to lose a player like Fafana, he's one of like the generational talent. So up a centre back, so aggressive, or a ball carrier. He's good in the air. He adds everything to the game, and he's one of them. So some person mujani choir, meaning say they want to cross all T's and dot all I's. Knowing say you might play away choir or chinabino emba high. So it's one thing I'm looking at. Say they shouldn't at least let him go, but they should give him one more season and see what he can add to this Chelsea team, because say Oma man not next season mujani choir maybe an injury history nete choir. It will be one big blow for this Chelsea setup. The next players our ball Mudin say Chelsea could add Dean Hawson, and also McGay. These are players they are McGay put on there. He has played Chelsea before through the academies, and he's doing so well for his team, Crystal Palace, captaining them and also making sure say his presence in this team is adding a lot. Who's a Crystal Palace? It's Mira. That is the FA Cup final, and you can't do it without a good defense. You can't do it without a good captain. Obet me aboa my team na koso. But between these two players, I think in the weekend need Chemu. Bournemouth the Man United game on boy. Every Chelsea fan be an agent or beshe. No, I heard Dean Hawson. It's the style of play, send your bunny ball, and then Yama Bakumi. And I think on the day he was very good. You could see say his ball recovery, his positioning, and then the passing on the ball, very, very good. Coming into this Chelsea setup, it will add a lot to the game. Player beats him again, so you'll be he also adds a lot to his game. Defensively, he's physical.
So, you want to side with Chelsea hierarchy if Omoma Fofana kwa?
No, I don't side with that.
You want them to give
him one more season. Now find a special treatment. They beat me up one. Say injury, say training sections. Normal Phillips maybe it's causing a lot. They should try and look at it, because this is one player in 2 or 3 seasons. The fans will come at you and push. Say player who the most or less the Kelvin De Bruyne is the whole lot of players being moved out based on 1 or 2 things. After the later, I could see say moving out. No, they are doing so well. And I'm someone Fafana is the injury records they have me, but I think anytime he steps into the Chelsea team, he plays with his heart out, and that is one thing I want to hear from every player who wears any club's jersey.
Okay, so if you don't agree with obviously they are saying that they will add another centre back, which is Dean Hawson.
Yes.
Obviously, if he is coming, then other outgoings, he if definitely if say or no bar and you for fun and echo.
No.
So if he is coming, let's look at the Chelsea centre back and our centre pairs.
Yeah.
Now we have 10 centre backs. Yeah. That is, we have some are more on loan.
On loan, yeah.
They will return. Memphis said you ever could be into the season with 5 defenders. In your estimation, 5 defenders Ben who foresee say by the end of you ever call Club World Cup no, because it is obvious they will do all their signings before the Club World Cup. Before Chelsea be call Club World Cup. Which 5 defenders do you want to see at Chelsea?
Okay, I think before the Club World Cup, no, the players are naturally they will be in the team. Obite Levi Cole, one. He's one player because of the Cobham history, and he also being a Chelsea through and through. He will surely be in the team. Yanhwe Obite Fafana, which I'm looking at, they shouldn't sell him. He should be there to help the team. Yabeshe Obite say Omutimi Kofo Dean Hawson, he will be one player who would be added into the team. I think the next person who will be kept into the team Badleshe, because there have been rumors say there is no concerns about selling him. There's one player who said he's ready to be someone like a rotational player. He's not like and so you'll be by force in percent he's ready to be a rotational player. So he'll be one player also left in the team. Then also I'm looking at maybe they will look at maybe adding another centre back. So the likes of Disasi, the likes of Chaloba, and also Memphis and Tosin will be allowed to go. Because one, Tosin air player, they were looking at his leadership in the team. Saying there's a Chelsea team signing a centre back who has that leadership quality, who has everything to match up with Tosin. I think they will let Tosin go. And there's a Chelsea team, even a 5 million or a 3 million for Tosin is a good business for them because Oba Chelsea has a free transfer. So if they are to get something small from him, they would be happy about it. I think Obiti say Renato Vega, they would allow him to go because they'll be looking at adding another left back.
I think there is an academy boy more extending the contract. I think I'm reading that part of a year or extending the contract. Or no more under yes, so he will be promoted alongside Josh and Tariq.
Yes.
Yeah, so this Obama 3 academy boys they will be part of the team. Yeah, going forward.
I think Renato Vega will surely be moved into players on bet me Renato Vega, Tosin, Chaluba, and Disasi. But I think we're out of these 3-4 players. Disasi had a chance at Aston Villa or movie in January. Now to say he was getting a lot of game time. Article. But I think players like that selling them isn't that hard because of now aggressiveness and also the way they play. They fit into team be obey or city back and obey just obey low block. So it's hard to move them, especially to in quotes maybe the mid claps, because of Momupe aggressive defenders and this hard there. So I think selling this for wouldn't be hard. It's a Chelsea be calling for Mageia, meaning say Chaluba can be part of the deal because they name the performance at Wama Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace will equally be open to accept Chaluba, may be part of the deal. But so beside me say, which defender should Chelsea get in addition to 4 centre backs? I
say 4 no
a friend Levi Cole, Badly Share, and Fafana, and now I'm me bo beside in count. And now me fan say ombe ade me fan say the horse na. Okay, the 4. At least they need at least a 5.
Yeah,
to
5
be able to maintain the team. I would go for, if Barcelona are ready to sell, I'll go for Araujo. Because I think he has that leadership. He has that qualities at Chelsea. He has CR.
Now, no, the injury records, no, so
yes, but on say we need him now. No, it's not more of say someone who will play fully for us, but at least that presence, that leadership, that one say who I think under Antonio Conte. Now John Terry Nebi in Bokra, he was on the bench. He was the captain of the side, but you could see say in games he adds that contribution to the team. You could see it helped the team to even win the Premier League. So yes, meaning so also injury records 1 or 2, but I think the injury records were more of Cesar Fafana at the end. And on say he has grown in the game, so he understands how to manage his body and any workload. So if Chelsea could add him, yes, they could have 5 solid defenders where they can rotate. So, but the Shani Liverpool can occupy the left centre back position, then the rest would occupy the right centre back position. There are games that we can go with maybe 3 centre backs, trying to play more of a 3-back system where we have a lot of people also in there.
So Odian Araujo, Fofana, Dean Howson. So you will still bring 2 defenders.
Yes, because you are selling out 4 defenders.
So in this case, now Araujo is coming to.
We have Mamadou Sarr.
I think for him they will allow him to spend
more time. Yeah. Because they are letting him spend from January to June, and from June he would come back to Chelsea.
Yeah, but I think the direction has changed. Okay, my main call when share Chelsea defense.
Yeah, used to my main share for you. I think that Wesley Fofana injury it has been something that Paul Winstanley and still one of the sporting directors have been taking it. And in fact, Enzo Maresca so your coach be what may you several times that if Fofana is fit or starting the games and if Fofana is not fit, who how Chelsea struggle with Jeho and that defensive stability and balance now Chelsea here and is it used to right now no Fofana situation about be a very delicate one, and since Fofana bad Chelsea used to about just 31 games since 2022 at Chelsea coach here £70 million at the Leicester City for the buy, and right now the only team at least while I've been lucky for the availability of Wesley Fofana Marseille. That is the only team right now I've been okay, and when you name say Wesley Fofana free France, and France Marseille Kroon and no free. So it's like we are Ghana ni free amano ba Ghana over Obama crowd to Fuku Fraka Obama crowd to Fuken. Chelsea are not necessarily pressuring the move because listen, so Bekaya, one of the amortization deals are Todd Boy Lemon, and the clear league for the start here was Wesley Fofana.
Yeah.
And if Uber beton player list of oil under amortization, unshare any profit. So there's no money any profit cost, and they believe that the kind of injury now Branton Enyano, and because of the workload and how intense the English Premier League in the year, because list of Wesley Fofana was Leicester City before buying, he wasn't an injury prone until that career threatening injury no benyaya, and affecting so much that this season list of just 14 starts. Virtually the whole of last season 2023-2024 or may say the whole season, and this season about 14 games. So the reports in the bench say, and the games are up boy and how all running, you know, because of how the player also plays, no, an aspect are emaninya injury, like emaninya injuries no continuously because this season list all, and you only pen miss a lot of games. Rhys James, Malo Gusto, any or no. Wesley Fofana, the 3 players at least all. I'm about less than 19 games for Chelsea this season. And I'm starting 19 games for Chelsea this season. So Optiona, he is very young, 24 years. This season, when you're 14 starts, if they're able to minimize how or any training, if they're able to minimize how or running a lot, a bit but at least all what Chelsea are doing is with Wesley Fofana absence, we have to get a player who is equally good as Wesley Fofana. So if Fofana prayer no anymore because they believe that remember all the 41 games, there are players who make me amount that stability. There are players who make me amount that consistency. But the thing is, if that player is fitter with that short period, no, he can also help you. If that player is not there, you have to get a player who makes me fitting in that bill so much. In Tenei, Obit is a Romeo Lavia. Going into the season, you will say if you are going to play a team or also team dominating game, Chelsea will go in for. Apart from that defense, they will have to sacrifice one of the midfielders and play that true pivotal midfielders in the name of Moises Caicedo and Abrante and the Eddie Romeo Lavia. And yet, who that Lavia hasn't been consistent. See, the reason why Chelsea are almost person munjina so tarise Santos, they are going to call him and he's going to be an integral part of the team. Is Santos can also play that role at Lavia the ball at the match Chelsea. Nti listo, o check Wesley Fofana there now. They are contemplating that maybe enconquer a permanent deal. Loan. Then they will negotiate with France leagues because believes that the French league, you know, the intensity, you know, is not as much as the Premier League. And myself, you know, they are okay with a season long loan because they believe that with the kind of players maybe even there's wages are a branded person, maybe myself for no that kind of. For if a season long loan, then after that, about 3 years, it may be the kind of money you're making there. Chelsea be a clear amortization or money less a year. Then also a bit even a 5 million profit corner Chelsea they are going to do that. So right now the discussion did not come myself being an list of a season long loan. And the thing is, if Chelsea wants to get rid of Abrantana right now, 4 years on the contract. So turn Sisiana 4 years amortization. Won't mean a clip because there's no way I'll wait my turn Wesley Fofana more than 50 million. There's no way I'll bet my turn Wesley Fofana more than 50 million pounds. And the turn 50 million pounds, the kind of money I'll be in the next 4 years, no, there's no won't mean any profit here. So to the Chelsea hierarchy, they believe that injury, no, Sabrampton is also another surgery. Send the more regimes go and they were more games.
So mama Fofana so
yes, why? And on say listo surgery no sometimes ubet me aye. But we ba injury bet me about but a banner utmi uye rehab na nema na ubet me recover. And sometimes recovering from such surgeries listo echo sa injury na we nya no. We will love to shake na bu ye na ne onya Oba ube pre-prasa until some time. So they believe that if team they Fofana call that season long loan, Otimbo at least 20 games, no babaka. A bit me abo man anymore more. And the kind of injuries, no knee injury surgery, any AC or knee anterior one, any sanema nina. It depends on the kind of injury. any player no how an kase mu yedin any money. So I think that Fofana is going to be very hard for Chelsea to sell him outright. If there is any possible right now, I'm saying Chelsea are open door no, and the main thing at Chelsea is starting with negotiation, discussion via a season long no. And Akwakoye clear say if Hodgson is coming out, and now Metina catch or say a brand representatives no, whatever they are saying is if Hodgson be Chelsea, he's going to be a starter. So whether Fofana is staying, whether Fofana is not staying, Hodgson in there, if Obesaim at Chelsea, he's going to be a starter. Same as Magui. This is Magui at least all. Newcastle for this 70 million pounds score, yeah, Crystal Palace for Magui. And right now, after this season, I can 1 year. Yeah. So one ton. Now Omane bought half a season. He will have every right to negotiate with anything in the general transfer. That is when if either say Crystal Palace for better very cheap and as somebody I'm a brand as a free agent. And then the report now in England more than just say Newcastle are still leading the race. But if Chelsea wants to come, they have to convince Magui say, in fact, if you are coming, we are even sending Wesley Fofana on loan. So if you come, only a Hodgson and now only a brand and the Levi Kowo, a Chabo. And then this is a player. He's playing for Crystal Palace. Yet he's the number one in England national team. And in fact, even Thomas Tuchel by a crown, still he's ahead of the pecking order. So Obe Muvia, he's right now Newcastle Farm and Assurance. Last season, he had 70 million by Crystal Palace for okay down. Right now, almost table almost 50 to 70 pounds million pounds on the coin for Air Branton this summer. And Newcastle Assurance say we are and all Newcastle has to do is say you have to secure Champions League football. And right now, Newcastle say for the past 2 seasons, they are one of the top 4, top 5 teams in England. And a Branton become a project in one. Or more assured say they are doing everything possible right to maintain Bruno Gomares and a Branton Alexander Isak. In the race for Magui used to all. It's not going to be very easy for Chelsea. For Chelsea.
Now, what about Gerrard Brightwaite of Everton? I think
honestly, one of the players are Manchester City, Liverpool. In fact, who check the Premier League? There are 3 players, defenders, a lot of teams are chasing. And William Saliba, maybe Madrid for the person fan started their new defense. Me, Branton the Asensio. The 3 defenders are Amalfoy Pomo, Magui, Hodgson, and Brightwaite or Everton. Used to Brightwaite need no conversation started last summer.
Man United.
Yes, it started last summer, and that was when Pep Guardiola also because he's a fine player, he also a player be also beat me a ball or yes a standing player. So listen, Brightwaite will not come cheap. But the thing is, all these teams in the list they will check it potential and whatever and the style of player coach be happy. Right now, Magu, they believe that or a Chelsea academy boy, he's known to the Chelsea culture bar, and you feel about adapted to the pressure from the Coban boys, the pressure from the Juan stand Libya. He's known to the Chelsea culture. But right now, on the list, if Magui is coming out, he has to know that he's coming to start. That is how I used to right now. Agent used to if Africa Crystal Palace, no bad Chelsea, no nya, he's going to lose his England position. But Newcastle with my guaranteeing a starting lineup, he can still play Newcastle and still maintain the position at the 3 Lions of England. And still, the money at Chelsea for Newcastle can pay that amount of money. So right now, Hodgson on Chelsea, I quite clear that now Madrid. The expectations, Madrid for so much guaranteeing starting because Madrid are going to sign. They sign a lot of players. Wow, modern so and normal ball. And looks like Rudiger quite surgery. Even if next is Rudiger or her, only a year Asensio and a and in fact, so he's going to compete with a player only the compete or the national team, which is Asensio because Hodgson called Spain national team in the pecking order. He wasn't part of that thing.
But I think with Hodgson to Madrid in there, it's out of there.
Yeah, and make us.
You want to stay in
the Premier League. They want a team a Branton best team. You want to keep the performance and now keep the starting lineup and the sports in the national team. That is what especially every management, every agency is looking for the player. So with Fofana at the end, if Fofana will go on a season long loan at least and clear that both players will come. In fact, he himself Chelsea were 10 players. And there's been a lot of conversation about Tosin Adarabioyo and Abranta and Chaloba. If Chaloba is going to stay and Tosin Adarabioyo is going to stay, now Meton Disasi and one of Badiashilia.
But they are saying that he will stay.
No,
a firm report as at now is saying he will stay. So obviously, so no stay. That pure profit issue will come in, and Chaloba nebe
Chaloba stay, you know, will depend on Fofana.
No, Chaloba they quite be as
no, you see,
Chaloba how
the mention say right now a clear say Disasi beko.
Yeah.
And if Disasi kwa, the right-footed players, because Disasi kwa, we shouldn't forget that Renato Vega too is coming back.
Also, they are saying he will be sold. Oh no,
yes.
Left back position, if anything now.
So no, left back, why center back?
No, Chelsea torn. The reason why only Chelsea nya issue are okoye and say Chelsea torn say o may cover for Marc Cucurella. What I say? Inti ono no omba Chelsea hono no. O me ball center back in the infama. So obebo center back obebo the way I call Ebona, maybe this what do you call it? Conference league near the idea. Chelsea didn't buy him to come and play a center back. And no, they are saying say they will sell him and give that slot to one academy boy. I've forgotten Nidim. What I say. Now the center person, the Boca Junior boy no.
Anselmino.
Fofana. Yes, it also better than Ebe Cologne. But the Ashel will stay. Kowa will stay. Now, Ebe Tosin. And I can say Tosin so about freeway.
Yeah, Tosin. No, they said also a leading figure in the dressing room. And I won't believe it. However they are doing, they will need him in the dressing room.
Okay.
Also a leading figure, one of the people are more respecting him very much. The players are respecting very much. Even if the kind of respect that Tosin one, regimes kind of respect.
Okay, so if say Ono stay there, it means Chaloba will be out.
Yeah, and Chaloba clear sobeko. But Chaloba going or staying will depend on Fofana going and Magui. Say if say Fofana ebe stay and asobeko na Chelsea enton entiminya Chelsea are not able to secure Maguire, they will let one of the right footed center back stay because Hodgson no about list or only a nimble footed or wait about BBR. And if Fofana is going to be fatal, they believe that they will play Hodgson, any Brandt and Eddie Fofana at the back. But here is the case, if Fofana Ebeko on loan, they want to help him with his fitness and also obey to creative space among other defenders, then it means that maybe they will not they won't sell him. That is Mimi Ishinamekam because we shouldn't forget say if you're a pure profiter, Amanto Broya or they can sell him. There are a lot of players or more into the system
you need to look at the amount you can generate. Obi say Chaloba, you can easily get 30 million.
Chaloba, they are using Chaloba to lure Magui.
But down to it will depend on the Crystal Palace pay.
Yes, no, Crystal Palace wants the boy. Pay Chaloba. So if Chelsea can, because right now, if Obetima cover Magui list, you're not going to pay less than 60 million or less than 50 million for Magui. This is a player only 70 million common reject here. And the conversation
Chelsea what we a friend is saying first refuse our contract to na Chelsea what percentage in so
first refusal contract.
Say bia
Magui
Chelsea say more money ma this particular team.
No. Except Magui they Chelsea for the tournament Crystal Palace. Chelsea's
no but more into BC
no Chelsea in the tournament. Say Magui Emma Palace.
No,
on it tomorrow morning.
On say Magui. Chelsea tournament different team.
No, Palace Street.
Palace Street.
On different.
On different team.
Palace.
From Chelsea to Palace.
Maybe 50%.
What's no member of no quite answer?
I think 20 is a 30%. 20 is
because me what I know is say at first before Magui call baby, not Chelsea had a percentage. It will say bia or call baby. They will have a first say. It will move. And son of my
loan, Jan Wayne and a loan to I think Swansea City. So of course Swansea loan.
Yeah.
And no free Swansea. No loan move. Into Palace move na official club move here. I think Chelsea was some percentage. Into Sebi or person motona they can do a deal. Nina Bejina if Palace are looking at say.
No, but you see that percentage in Crampon. If Chelsea have 50% of the sale of Magui Krana, you still have to on paper. You still have to pay that 70. Then what you would then so what I say. But they want to if they want to buy a Magui with the kind of price now. On be someone for a cash plus a Chaloba and that one company a bit make clear books no very well because listen to all. So what the Chaloba kwa one what this car can what tono ebia ukwakoto Magui 60 million who reti Chaloba 45 who the 50 million pounds aka eye Magui aka Chaloba ho e na ko on that deal no who accumulate the cost of Chaloba any scan out the count now. Chelsea is maybe accumulated to that 30 million means that 15 million or 20 million Chelsea back count that money won't go. But in terms of deal this animal the money will go then Chelsea will also get. But I mean to me the for further going I mean a loss to Chelsea at this moment. If a loan then a season long loan or bet me recover and fitness back, I think that would be very good for us. But I know that definitely disaster there and you're good so because or Crystal Palace or Aston Villa he's not being able to start ahead of Consamo any other defenders so there's no way back for him. Renato Vega a player they also believe that Mkoton as much as 40 million if they can sell him 40 to Juventus a pure business and Liverpool likely they will stay bad so I think that in as much as for fun Accra Betnana on the list Chelsea will still sign 2 center backs they are capable of playing at the highest level like Wesley Fofana.
Okay, all right. Until me besides 5 defenders are all here Chelsea call amudi ombekwa we to me understand
5 defenders are Chelsea call into the season.
Yeah, Club World Cup.
Club World Cup.
Yeah.
I think that to be very honest the Club World Cup if I do enough for fun at he will go. Tosin Adarabioyo will be there.
Obviously, so he will not be part.
No, on say no. No. And I'm saying
if they will let him leave, so he will not be part because they are saying all their signings, I was almost year before the Club World Cup. So that use as part of pre-season to correct all the mistakes identify or Club World Cup they will not have a season like we've had this year. What I say. So if say I'm not so the current let's
he will go. The 5 center backs are
yes.
Okay. If Fofana is not going now, I think that Tosin Adarabioyo Levi Colwell and Badiashile will be there. Then I think the 2 new center backs from Domeba in a space of hosting then any of Magui. If Drew and I say transfer in Yamba, I definitely know that maybe Chaloba will also be part of that. So the 5 center backs in the year, I mean clear. If Fofana is not part, Magui, Hodgson, if they can secure these 2 players, then the 3 players or more, Levi Colwell, Tosin Adarabioyo, and Benoit Badiashile. So
from my side, I feel say they might sell Chaloba, Renato Vega, Desasi. That is Chaloba ne Desasi as the center pair. Then Magui, Hodgson, Colwell, Fofana and Badiashile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it means that Tosin. They will let Tosin leave.
Was it who the name?
Gui, Hodgson, Colwell, Fofana and Badiashile.
I said if Fofana is not staying, so Fofana shouldn't be.
If he is not staying, then I'll let Chaloba stay and let Tosin go. But as you are saying, it's a Tosin. They are looking at what he brings. Any idea? So it will be between Chaloba and Tosin. Any of them are always stay. I don't have a problem because they are still there already. So let's share the Champions League. Let's go detail into it. Now,
Yes, I think this Champions League, Arsenal Paris Saint-Germain is one game and will be so beat me. I think it's one of the most exciting game out of the two games are ever soon. These two clubs they share in the group phase are Arsenal, it's share Paris Saint-Germain 2 goals with 2 set pieces. After the game, Luis Enrique Becker said in the Champions League, team on in ball our Philly said they are well organized. Is this Arsenal setup? Going into this game, I think he would have a different plan. He wouldn't let Arsenal beat them twice in one competition. No, he has a lot to prove in this game. You who say Paris Saint-Germain a team in their knockout phases anytime they go into a two-legged game, they get to at least win one and the other ends in a draw or they get to lose. So it will be one good game for us now. So facing a team on team we need two-legged games. Against Real Madrid, meaning if we have the chance at the Emirates, we need to take it. And when we move to Parc de France, where that's their strongest also grounds, we try and get that draw or if they are to win, their scoreline wouldn't overlap the one or the Emirates. You hear Arsenal in the Champions League, they missed out on the second spot based on just a loss against team your friends Inter Milan. So meaning this Arsenal team are very solid defensively and also attacking wise. They are very solid in the Champions League. 11 home games on Mabono, 9 or make keep clean sheet. It means at home it's hard to score against team friend Arsenal. But I'm almost set up going into this game. We hear Arsenal today. We hear friend Mikel Arteta Bernard said there's a more open game. They need to get the goals. Send me boss, if they are keeping clean sheet or doing well at their home, Paris Saint-Germain is also replicating the same thing at Parc de France. Internet with Arsenal lineup, you bet me who Raya, you bet me who Timber, Saliba, Kivio, Louis Kelly, near who Odegaard, Rice, maybe Merino. Me name Partey issue no send akwakusi. Say if the yellow cards are being cancelled or it will affect him. But Partey ain't me and body. Meaning
Partey is not playing. He's not part.
Not part. Okay, it's bet me who Merino instead of Partey, and that would be something the Paris Saint-Germain midfield will be very happy about, because with Thomas Partey's inclusion in this Arsenal setup, he plays more like the deep line playmaker, picks the ball and distributes and make sure say Rice any Odegaard is free. Those Rice are born in a lot of tackling, but Partey making sure that cleanliness of the ball from the defense to the attack, he makes that work so well, and then that role will be on Merino. I named himself for the past 3 months. He has been scoring. So now, I'd say Nenuma Bayani there, especially when he gets to goals. So would he be okay playing as a deep line playmaker, distributing balls and picking up those final balls at PSG Real Madrid so rotated through the middle? And that would be a big question for us now. And one thing who said their game against Real Madrid, Rice Bufu Yepa on that yellow card at Thomas Partey Timinya. Front three, we'll see the front three of with Martinelli and Saka. I think today I best started Trossard as a number 9, and I asked the false 9 because in Trossard last 2 games I started as a false 9. I'm asked now with Timiashe 3 goals, so meaning he has that confidence to get into the box and score. And these two teams, Paris Saint-Germain and Sudan, said they'll come in with the same starting 11, but we wouldn't see Bracula starting. Desire they will start ahead of Bracula because in the second leg game against Aston Villa, Bracula started was very disappointing, so he wouldn't get the nod. Desire they would get. So this game would be a more of 2 teams playing with the same style of formation. They are allowing one thing Arsenal would do, and they said their fullbacks wouldn't be moving forward a lot, or more double 8, and a better joining attack anymore. And I will see Trossard either moving from the left to the right. Mostly we'll see him interchanging with player friend Martinelli more than Saka. Okay, the Paris Saint-Germain setup, their middle 3 would be stagnant. They wouldn't be moving forward. They'll make sure they protect the defensive line. Until we'll see Mendes, and then we wouldn't see Mendes going more forward, saying who here in the Aston Villa game because of the likes of Bukayo Saka. So he would come in as a force back. Ababe Buan Finfino. No, Ababe protected that left space as Saka and Zubena Jones will explore. But we'll see play a bit say Hakimi going more forward than Mendes. In TNA with the Paris Saint-Germain setup, Hakimi will go more forward. Mendes will be like a force back, but any more defensive. Or Bernard Jones will be on the line. Then that 3 midfield partnership between we a friend say Vetinia, Joao Neves, and Fabian Luiz would be stagnant. To make sure say Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Desire they would rotate up front. But the question would be, would Arsenal centre backs between Saliba and Kivio, can they hold Dembele? I think on any normal day, if it was Gabriel on the night, I would have bet on them, say yes, they can hold Dembele. Because the only thing you need is one person getting more closer to Dembele, who would be Gabriel, and Saliba picking those extra balls. Benin, Yehu Kivio against Real Madrid, he did so well, and he has been able to come up with confidence. We saw him score a goal even during this weekend. During the weekend ago. He's one player, he's now adapting to the game. But this is the Champions League semi-final. Any mistake would cost you. This would be one game, and Arsenal would go into this game looking at, say, if the one team is to win, they need to win at the Emirates, and they need to get goals too at the Emirates. Sending our balls before the show started, they said, this is one game we'll see a lot of tackles. There wouldn't be 50-50 balls, or be energy or 29 there be, because these two teams dominate ball. Arsenal be possessing ball anymore. Paris Saint-Germain be possessing more. But I think about possession wise, Paris Saint-Germain have the men to possess the ball more than the Arsenal setup, with the exclusion of Thomas Partey only team. But the only thing Arsenal can do to beat this Paris Saint-Germain setup, they say Martinelli needs to be that key player for Arsenal today. In TNA, so be able to make a chance to score against him, a friend Paris Saint-Germain. I'm tipping Martinelli. At the end, they say Hakimi would go forward more, because he becomes the third or the fourth player in attack. So Desire they Eswichiba in Kakra. He would explore that right wing position, So now Martinelli with his speed, needs to make sure say Opini Hakimi back, and now so take that chances to score a lot of goals. I think Mendes Saka would be a good match. Today we are going to see a whole lot of different type of play. Saka Bernard being say he will try to beat him on 1v1s. Mendes is Bernard being say he will lock up Saka. So Martinelli and then in the night he needs to get the chances and score. Defensively, Yebehu Marquinhos and Pacho, these have shown us that they are one of the most solid defensive partnership in the Champions League. When it comes to the experience and young talent with pace and BBR, they balance themselves so well. It's a Trossard being the force now, he needs to find spaces. And yes, but we've seen in previous games that these two partnerships, they don't really work well when there is a figure in between them and the person is very strong and try to win air balls. In TNA, with Trossard being up front, we wouldn't see Arsenal playing that with one type of football to Trossard. But I think if it was a Merino up front, they would have tried it to make sure that Merino can be that focal point that they can target more and get the ball to him and be a poacher or beat me real box room and get those chances. But I think it will be an exciting game. If I'm to look at how both teams will set up and everything, we are going to see a lot of corners in this game, because both teams are they add more into the attack. Until we see defensive clearance.
I'm attacking it from the flanks.
Yes, we'll see defensive clearance at the corners, we'll see deflections at the corners. But over 8.5 corners, over 9.5 corners is likely to play in this game. These two teams, they are scoring in their games. Where their last previous games are they are both teams, they are high scoring teams. They are very, very high scoring teams. And they don't get to concede. And when a problem, both sides, they don't get to concede a lot. So here Arsenal in the Premier League per game will concede 0.85. That is less than even a goal. Paris Saint-Germain is to concede at least one goal per game. But here both sides, Paris Saint-Germain is scoring 2.71 goals per game. And Arsenal is 1.85 goal per game. It means that this will be one game. I'm tipping an over 2.5 happening. Because say team be person win here, you need to win comfortably. It's a Arsenal and not doing so person win here. It needs to be a 2-0 or a 3-0. The margin should be at least a 2. Going to Parc de France. Say a 1-0 margin is an open game for El Parc de France. It will worry them. So Paris Saint-Germain needs to pursue close game now. Meaning say so no team share a goal or 2. I'm seeing an over 2.5. I'm seeing over 0.5, over 8.5 corners. I'm seeing yellow cards of 2.5 in this game, because there will be rash tackles, especially with the wingers, how sharp they are. Kvaratskhelia and say may TP a player to get a yellow card today. Louis Kelly will surely get a yellow card today, based on the way Dembele like to shift on the right wing and try to take on players. And if there is one team to win this game, I'm tipping Arsenal to win. So I'm looking at Arsenal win or draw. I'm looking at over 8.5 corners. I'm looking at over 2.5 yellow cards and also over 2.5 goals in this game. I'm tipping Arsenal needs to prove something. And this year's Champions League, the 4 teams in the semi-finals are from 4 different nations. Into Arsenal represent England, Paris Saint-Germain represent France, Barcelona represent Spain, and Inter Milan represent Italy. So now, why not the performance beat me? I couldn't say yes. This and I say, it's only Arsenal penny one on top in the league table. The remaining 3 are topping their league table or they are in good positions to win their league. In TNA, it's like champions from these 4 nations and Ababishia. So Arsenal needs to show, say yes, they couldn't win the Premier League, but say over England, team obey me up, I raise the England flag so higher. They can be one team to do it. In TNA, I'm looking at the Arsenal win or draw. Any other options here? It me afa MYBET.AFRICA.
So what's your probable lineup? What type of lineup? Who should like probable lineup for the 2?
Yes.
And for Arsenal, player Ben, I'll show you go to guy and now bet to make a difference. Then I'll share
okay. See with lineup now, I think maybe boss Okaka. I think Raya will start for Arsenal. Timber, Saliba, Kivior, Lewis Kelly will be their back 4. Odegaard, Rice, Merino would also come in. Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. Say I'm kind. The go-to guy in this game, I'll bet me a changing game for Arsenal. Martinelli. He would be the guy to change the game. Martinelli, Yenim say he has an on and
Saka.
No, I think Saka would have a difficult game because of Mendes. Mendes is very tough, especially marking wingers. They like to go 1v1.
So we are much skillful than Salah. People are saying he was able to pocket Salah, both of them away. But then we saw it at Anfield. Salah had glorious chances.
But we say with Saka.
But Saka,
the time with Saka was able to go past him 1 or 2 times, and I think that would be a good lesson for BFN Mendes, because today Sebeka will be a better actually video of that particular or a clip of that particular game about Mendes, how to stop Saka, and then the focus will be on Saka. It will be more of Mendes, Pacho, chairman, and we know the pace, the strength of Pacho. So say Arsenal being your best side to explore is the right side of Paris Saint-Germain team, because Hakimi always likes to go forward. Hakimi, born so Martinelli needs to prove something. So if Arsenal are going to get a goal, I'm tipping either Martinelli or Trossard to be that go-to guy. Paris Saint-Germain is lineup. Donnarumma will surely start. Yebehu, Hakimi, Mendes, Pacho, Marquinhos, Ewechiwo. Yebehu, Fabian Luiz, Vitinha, Joao Neves. That would be that 8 players would cover that particular front area. Yebehu, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and Desire Day. I think the go-to guy in this game would be Kvaratskhelia. He would go against player friend Timber. Timber is very solid. Timber, we've seen in games where Timber pocketed the likes of Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe. And Kvaratskhelia is one player, would be a very tough customer for him tonight, because he's one player, he's swift, he has the pace, like he can do everything any modern day winger can do. He'll be one of the difficult players to go in for. One thing about me had Timber, and they say if they had the likes of Gabriel, who is more physical, it could have been a big way positive for them. By name, Kivior and Saliba, they are more of like a cool type of defending type of players. Who against Real Madrid, the time they were a bit off the ball. Now Real Madrid got that equalizer, Vinicius, Michel. So it's something Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Desire they will try to take advantage of. They will try to put a lot of pressure on them to be able to make mistakes for them to benefit. If me help players to score there, I want Martinelli to get a good day. If he gets a good day, he will score. And Kvaratskhelia, Dembele is likely to score in this game.
All right.
Yeah. Used to Champions League game now would be an exciting game. To be very honest, this team so Omobo in the league phase in the Champions League are Arsenal winning by 2 goals. But that game, Upianibaya was PSG dominated the game, but the thing is, Arsenal were clinical. And you see, at that time, no, the PSG team little how they are performing this season, no more team wouldn't be able to say Enyan Jelin drew this stage. At that time, they were now getting
they were out of the
yes.
They were basically struggling.
So at that time, listen, no more team dominating game. No, in terms of possession wise, or make team dominating. But
is it not that game no more drop Dembele no for attitudinal issue? No? Let's check because I remember say
yes, that game Dembele ambo.
Yes, almost drop Dembele.
Yeah, Dembele ambo. I think I'll start with a year desire they can in Lee and Brady Bakola. Did that game Grampono Vicha Kwaraskeria. Cry yes, one moving say Randall Colomwani mo. And even that game coaching just 2 changes. Randall Colomwani for desire day and Fabian Ruiz for a brand and a day Vinci here. So Dembele wasn't even part of this team. But you see, this all that is another game I call. So and you how dominant team and the a PSG here. At that time, one big chance just one big chance and Arsenal team create here. That is the chance for me to create. I can't have it, boy, and that free kicker, Bukayo Saka so share a more that chance. But that very game, is to all. Now money mark about Saka and Nuno Mendes. And you see, after that game, Nuno Mendes has also become a better player. Since that game, in fact, that game, that day, Saka did 9 dribbles attempted, and he moved 3 penalty. And Emu one was against Abranta and the Nuno Mendes. And I think that Nuno Mendes was dribbled past twice in that game. That was one against Bukayo Saka and one against Abranta and the Kai Havertz in that game. And you see, these two, me Madi Kanka said in the Champions League, a dribble you will need a teamwork. And Obesanso in here individual players, but especially the competition now here, but least all it entails a lot. That is the reason why in the Champions League no other team be no accord the finals for the first time. The trophy, and in fact, trust me, if Arsenal or PSG, one of these teams, equal final, trust me, these teams are going to win. Obi our Champions League final, be a went man be an okwa. You 20 years ago. When PSG, Arsenal were able to eliminate Real Madrid, Barca was the final. Barca, Echiomu in the final. In 2021, when Thomas Tuchel won PSG, or the PSG call final, Bayern Munich Echiomu Shobo. And you see, this tournament is all. It entails a lot of pedigree, class, and some certain amount of experience and the Bible side. In the recent times, PSG have been dominant in the Champions League, but Arsenal is to since 20 years ago, 2006 Arsenal called semi-final. This is the first time Arsenal back the Champions League semi-final. But the PSG time, maybe in recent time, Messi, Mbappe Mobile, they failed to reach here. But in recent time, PSG have been very dominant, have been very more forthcoming in the Champions League for the last 10 years. Actually, into what check your game on boy, that is in the league phase. Total dominance, possession, 65 for PSG. I mean, they couldn't create a lot of chances. They played a lot of shots, but I mean, a lot of corners in that game. And they dominated the game. Arsenal crunch a lot of chances. The only big chance of was the one Kai Havertz. And this is the game at least. Arsenal failed to get more than one corner in this game because they were not able to create chances. No one to me any ball, manning to me any resulting in corner. But in this game, it's going to be very different. And Adibakwa list obe has na ye by the absence of Thomas Partey. A bit changing the dynamics of how Mikel Arteta wants to create a game. They don't have any option than to send Abraham and Declan Rice to the number 6 position, to that holding position rule. And listen, only my Adrian said, Arsenal for if they are playing now, especially when they played against a team PSG on board 4-4-2. And you saw that 4-4-2 with Kai Havertz and Lisandro Trossard at 2 top. Whenever they are attacking, Saka beba more than Marcelino beba, so they will get more men in attack. So I give them one bodyguard. So even if I'm more attack here, they attack with four players up front. Saka, Thomas Tuchel, Thomas Partey, then Ricardo Calafiori. So a be more of invention, and if they are attacking, it's many more men at the but that mean they defended very well. And when it comes to Arsenal, list to especially at Emirates, and I know which check your game. It's hardly so be say Arsenal are conceding more than 2 goals because they defend very well. If they are defending, they all defend. If they attack, the players also more attacking the call. And then you say, coach and they lose the wrinkles to or boy a 4-3-3 system. But on the field, I have necessary. If they are or line up in the bar, a 4-3-3 system, and when you can catch us, ni bono, a more I mean difference a boom change on only a year Pep Guardiola there. But only then you more of that Johan Cruyff total football number. And they so starting game at least all. You see Desire Day. You see either Bracola and I say Vicha Kvaratskhelia, any Dembele. They rotate a lot. In the next moment, Vicha Kvaratskhelia best starting on the left side. But 30 minutes or 25 minutes into the game, but also Bracola will change from that right side or back. And then Dembele no, side the first line number least to all. Mostly we more from the flanks. Then you see Fabian Ruiz and Joao Neves occupying the up front, and also Besansonia apparently Akraf Hakimi. Akraf Hakimi list all. Why be a very danger man or this PSG setup and say whenever they are attacking, he will be in the shadows, but he will be the manner of converting in the loose balls. The box nimu. Besanso create a lot of assists at the man ni players no. So here as the case at least all. I want to go into the lineup of both coaches because this game. Why in the with tactics ever work here now? In fact, if Arsenal your man say on be defending throughout at least all, PSG team take your more chances it will be done for it. In fact, PSG up against Arsenal, they don't have a very strong history against English teams. Omabeshia Liverpool me can same thing. Omabeshia Aston Villa me can the same thing. But here as the case the competition they are playing, they are hoping for the ultimate. So at least all. They don't care say I have to win both legs. All they need is say we have to win at a certain stage and qualify. That is PSG position right now. And not checking Arsenal there as well. They are also going to say if you are not scoring, you are also scoring us. So they defend to all at the core. They make sure say any loose balls will be Biano or more players bit my clinical. So in this game, Ochaki Arsenal list they have a very strong record against PSG. Almost share in the Champions League 3 times. Arsenal win 1. And I'm about draw 2 times. In fact, in one time, the Cavani money variety mo bar Emirates, about 2-2. And that first leg, on 1-1 will pang the Princess and PSG about 2-2. Emirates ebe qualify. And you the league phase Arsenal show. List all Arsenal unbeaten run 11 unbeaten Champions League games. Home. I'm winning 9 and I'm about draw 2. At the Emirates. But the most important thing is Arsenal for the list of more unbeaten run this season 18 games unbeaten in the Champions League or mobile. And PSG list of I mean they've lost to Nice, they've lost to Le Havre. I mean almost last 6-7 games on mobile. But yes though they are one of the best teams in Europe this year. Which I can obi to say Dembele. Technically, tactically a player to watch in this game. Out of 44 games Obama PSG to were involved in winning 44 goals this season. 44 goals this season. And I mean a very incredible for Abraham and Ousmane Dembele. And the question is, can Kivio and Abraham and Eddie William Saliba can they be able to stop Dembele? And that is another question list to I'll say it in Bisa. But you see Ucheki iron slots Liverpool and in Aston Villa how Omumienu ball against this PSG team vibrant squad and they both I mean a win but yes though they couldn't qualify and not a PSG team this list to Oman knocking out 2 of the top 6 teams in England despite the fact that Medicanca said they don't have a very good record against team English teams now on number. But you see you look into this game at least Thomas Partey absence will be felt, because you see, after that punishment, Partey kunya ye who say now Rice, Charlie, this is a needless yellow card and it's going to affect us in our first leg a semi-final clash. Listen, and a Jorginho, and can you bit magas bit me at the base, bit control the tempo for Arsenal. Also a chest injury, listen, he's not going to play this game. And aside that, no, Mikel Merino at least Arteta deploying in that emergency number 9 role are very crucial for Arsenal. You know, that player, no, it means that Arsenal with 2 options. It's either say at least Arsenal ever drop it a branch and the Declan Rice to the number 6 role to partner with a branch and the Mikel Merino as the left side 8 role positioner and then Mikel Merino bebo. Then maybe Kai Havertz out. And all these players are out, but maybe you bet me about Trossard as the number 9. Martinelli will also start, and maybe Bukayo Saka so bet me start. That is the only option. Then Martin Odegaard will also be in that position. So it means that that emergency rule now, Abraham say and then Merino about now in some period of time, no, he's not going to play because Jorginho is out of this game, and Lewis Kelly, list all, he won't be able to be doing that invention on him because PSG. Strength ni and apart from say list omu dominating game no, one of their strength I say omu use flanks. Now let's think to the PSG team list coach bought a 4-3-3 formation with Akraf Hakimi, Marquinhos, William Pacho, and Nuno Mendes as the 4 center backs. With the 4-3-3 no born about 4-3-3 diamond, the 3 midfielders no about in that triangle diamond possession today we move Vitinha at the base, Fabian Ruiz at the far left, and as the left-sided 8, and Abraham and Joao Neves are my friend in them go Kante with flair as the right-sided 8, and then the up front one. Either so best started with Dracula, but in recent times or started Desire Day more. So Desire Day, Abraham and the Vicha Karaskeria, and Dembele. These 3 players list all they rotate omunjina faku. So it's hard for you say nay. Obaka say Kwaraskeria no option for left into no who target it. They will give the defenders a lot of options. Omo ma time I won't be say Dembele and then Dembele list or watch how or attacking. Or no attacking from the anytime you are attacking or from either from the flanks and then or a nimble footed. So it's very hard to defend against Abraham and the Ousmane Dembele. But at least for the 4-3-3 now Luis Enrique Bono. If they are defending and if they are attacking at least all, they attack in a 3-2-5 formation. In the Nobel say Nuno Mendes, William Pacho, and the Marquinhos will be the constant players on Megina. Then Abraham Eddie Vitinha, Ebe Germany because on the head orchestrator the registrar for Mutim no on the starting play or tempo of the game. That is why you remember more the passes and any Dengolo Kante with flair, Joao Neves, and so bit imagine and impair. So if they are attacking, they have 5 players or more at the base. And then Hakimi, Essence Kokanta, or 5 players in attack. Either say Fabian Ruiz, Desire Day, Ousmane Dembele, Vicha Kwaraskeria, and your brother and the Hakimi. In that invention of Martin Lewis Kelly. Why man brought Arsenal this season. He won't be able to do that because there will be a lot of overload. Because even if PSG attack at least so Hakimi were up front. Ube Desire they were up front and Dembele and Onja and Finfi on super court that left side and that right side. That will depend on wherever the boy is. So they will create overload or attack. In the name Timber, Kivo, Saliba, Lewis Kelly. And I say, so best start Ben Whiter. And now, best start Ben Whiter. It's going to be very difficult for Arsenal for them to contain because this place is a bit rotating. But I know Arsenal that they can defend very well. They will miss the absence of Thomas Partey very much in this game. I'm going to say Thomas Partey in this game. And yes, again, this gamer, I think that apart from tactical awareness and how both coaches need to approach this game, individual brilliance will be a key for, if anything will win. Especially Bukayo Saka.
Like Real Madrid anyway.
Yes. What check Real Madrid at least all. Tactically, Arsenal were better than Real Madrid. In what check here, even especially in the first leg, with the goal so much share from the set pieces now, they managed the game well that they were able to silence Kylian Mbappe. Any Vinicius Junior, these are players at least. My catch was say they are put me a silence so much. They affected the Real Madrid team. And he named him Madrid this season. List to Omo defense very bad. So Arsenal were able to get 2 goals from set pieces, and then on another defensive blunder, and then Merino Dinya that second goal. And the Omoba Santiago Bernabeu, they were going all out, and yes, still Arsenal for a penalty class and they got a chance of Munya on the share. But against PSG, list all different. They will possess the game because against Arsenal moment they dominate the game no, and they defended very well. But against PSG will dominate the game. Arsenal will be running after the ball, and if Dembele, you know how clinical he is, if he's able to get into that shoes that we're finding this season, quite a scary, little or a very dangerous. Any loose balls be Timber, any Saliba be Jaho, piano, or be pounder, Sabos in the ashe. Same as Desire do, and that skill set take it a Brantiano, and the PSG team now so I can laugh list all since the Qatari sports investment before. PSG no. One of their main things is say Oma conquer the league and one thing on person more achieve the Champions League. In the year how PSG spending a lot of money into all these things, and now they are doing the needful. And the needful or more say imagine the Champions League this time, and more approach list to this time around a bit different. A very different in such a way that they are going to approach the game very different. And to me, Arsenal for. And then the list of all, I think that this game will be very difficult for Arsenal to match in terms of possession. And if Dembele mo ebe wasteful, na Bukayo Saka, and na Trossard, and na Martinelli, is the money mankind. Any chance counter attack woman Yabiano or make him the punish a PSG team no. Any counter attack biano or make me Eddie Apanishi PSG team no. So in this game, I think that tactically, if tactics are Mikel Arteta Debeko game no, Ebwana at least a bit of man winning game, and especially with the kind of record Arsenal what home no. I don't see say it's going to be a very difficult game for them. They will miss Thomas Partey though, but at least going into this game, I think that Arsenal will get that home advantage, and PSG for this season they don't care say they are win at home or they all they are hoping is
and next game they can win the Omaba England this season 4.
Yeah.
And they can win.
Yeah.
Last 3 no. They beat Liverpool. Arsenal beat them and they lost to Aston Villa. So it appears they are not Liverpool
they renew Anfield.
It's a penalties.
No, they won the 90 minutes. They won 1-0 and I gave them no extra time. So they actually they won at Anfield.
They won winning Anfield. But so we need back this season.
And two England teams in the knockout stage anymore. 2 top teams in terms of Liverpool and Aston Villa and my friend. But list all, Adiba Kwebe Arsenal say the stats are backing Arsenal, especially Omobo Emirates.
Okay.
In fact, Arsenal for list all, Omo keeping 9 clean sheets out of our last 11 games. Home games, so you see your home games. 11 you see your home games Arsenal. Last 11 Arsenal ball Emirates. Omo keeping 9 clean sheets. It tells you how Arsenal is defended and how solid Omo away. So in fact, you how Omo keep PSG from not scoring, but this is a different PSG. They attack very well, and about how about limited from how Martin Lewis Kelly will play today.
Okay.
About limited how Arsenal will approach the game. In fact, Thomas particularly Rice will be more deep. Merino will play, and Odegaard also a bit defending more. Then they will rely on counter attack, and that counter attacks. No, if Martinelli, Trossard, any Bukayo Saka, the least chances of many moments me and keep here. In fact, that one is not Arsenal for the new addition goals in South Africa. Maybe they might not be able to get because you first leg or even PSG you cannot munya who firing power. They dominated the game. Arsenal just one corner with Emirates. PSG moment near a lot of corners. No. So if PSG dominated the game, that means that less corners for Arsenal, maybe Arsenal might not be able to utilize that free kick for baby as nearby. Donnarumma will be aware of our Rice share, and in fact, and yes, be not Rice or Bobo free kick share. That was his first and second ever career free kick or share. Until we team guarantees a sanso beto ha or best sanso abashi. Until you know, man management in this game will be key to all the coaches. Man management or the game management, the list to anything back as I did tie winning games. Ubetim rotates a corner floppy, but how you manage the game and that 90 minutes on the field, no, it will be very crucial for both coaches. Arsenal, list to all, they are clear favorites. But if Arsenal for no, or more game management, or more tactics, or no more players, men deliver that individual performance na ebe here to say obetimi dia age I win the Champions League night at least will be affected. If Bukayo Saka who's and then Nuno Mendes has so if Nuno Mendes so ever needs a battle now, Arsenal will be silent. Omutimi create a lot of chances because at the right side, that is where they have to do. Because at the right side on the back more of Martinelli, any Marquinhos, and speed in the Suba. Marquinhos will use the experience, but Martinelli beat me up and William Pachu against Trossard will be very difficult for them. So the Arsenal attackers, list all, they have to live up to expectation. They have to do their best to beat PSG defenders. No? And I be affected PSG. In fact, in as much as Hakimi ebeko more, and I say even if Hakimi be staying up on our left side, and say Nuno Mendes beko more, Arsenal have to be able to say they will have that quick transition.
Okay.
So when you have that quick transition now, they are affected. But then PSG, they have players to do that quick transition. Vitinha, Marquinhos, and Vitinha, João Neves, and Ruben, Fabian Ruiz. These are players at least well. And any day, on their boss midfield, no, and they can do very much well. So in this game, I think that Arsenal with the kind of record or more, especially our Emirates and the history of this game, no, let's just say this game is likely to beat Miami in a goalless draw.
Okay.
Likely to beat Miami, but I mean the Arsenal is slightly ahead of PSG in this game. But if PSG could pull surprises, I'll be surprised of how they've been performing this season. Listo.
Well, your lineup on your probable lineup.
Yeah, my probable lineup.
To watch. Yeah.
Yes, my probable lineup. Listo. Me started with the whole team. Arsenal, David Raya will be imposed. I think that Julian Timber will start. Saliba and Kevo will start, and maybe Lewis Kelly. So a bit me starting in this game. Odegaard, Rice, Merino will be the players. On the ball in midfield. Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, and Martinelli. Every players on the starting game na dema PSG. Arsenal. On PSG side. Donnarumma, obvious best starting. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Pachu, and Mendes will start. These are the constant players, and maybe Obomo, Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves will be the three midfield. Vitinha and the base, and these two players. Then I'm expecting say Bracola need desire day. I don't know whoever he's going to start, but because of how Obe dominating game, and Obe used to the flanks, no, I expect Obe starting Bracola in this game. And then Dembele and Vicha Abranta and the Kvaratskhelia. Bracola and Desire Day will depend on how coach be. But I think that these are the probable lineup for both teams.
Okay. Oh well, it's a young share. Yeah, also I say we know. I will see it to me you.
Yes. Inti with any odds near me share bet builder on Arsenal any Paris Saint-Germain game no. For the game share Arsenal win or draw over 2.5 and 8.5 corners into odds no air 4 odds and my MYBET.AFRICA bet builder and our minds are option code no FBSY FDSY MYBET.AFRICA.
Yeah, list to build builder for Arsenal and PSG game no, and see me cover 1.5 goals in that game and over 8.5 corners in that game. Odd of 1.9. Al Hilal and Al Saudi on my ball. Al Hilal straight win. Bolton Albion and Wigan over 1.5 goals in that game. And a Casapia or Portugal Premier League na money extra double chance for Casapia. Code no PDSY. PDSY.
Right, into we abadwafo emu code a ene emu de ama bomodin a nefa guso bomodin a nefa guso because ene wo say ye debate ene wo say ye den ye debate e wo honum now oko Armenia team a yefe na FC Ararat Armenia ene Punik Yerevan ene ebo FC Ararat Armenia for no home win or draw. And Al Hilal and Al Ali Saudi and ebo over 2.5. And Mamo FF so ebo match ne Mamo FF one Austin's FC Mamo FF 2 up, that is win 2 up. And Arsenal any PSG Arsenal any PSG. I'm looking at corners over 7.5. Then yellow cards over 2.5. And passes. Abranti Efeno Vetina me hwe ne passes no na ma pick na fi yakoye nim Vetina cause obe control game no obviously I don't know control game no. Okay pese me hwe also do do the amount for a year ne passes obema ene ebi wo mu 80 passes obetuma ma 80 passes okay the mami film na me fa yeah
I hear no bit my more than 100 passes but this season passes in this season check my check it in the last games amount. Okay,
the mamemfa we na mamemfa bookings over 2.5 na corners over 7.5 and Mamu home win Al Hilal over 2.5 and FC Ararat Armenia so no win or draw into odd of 4 no mentino and no yemi there
remember passes nana.
Oh, minimum so in passes, my pa,
yes.
but
okay.
I'm
in the last game against Nice, about 112 passes. Or the Open Champions League, remember our Champions League. Remember now against Vitia, the medical guys or passes same will against Aston Villa, listo against Aston Villa.
Home no the or passes, but away no
passes. That is away. I about 87 passes. Home about 140 something passes. Also against Liverpool. I mean checking the passes amount against Liverpool. Vitinha, ebo 111 passes. So then the passes need there.
Okay.
PSG if they are starting attack, more passes.
Okay, right. Enti ya be hwe na asa aka ya obe 7 minutes bi ewom. Wo my bite education kakra na afi ya nsore so. Yeah. Send a live commentary. Yeah. No live commentary na. Okay.
I think with my bet education there, Era Champions League, Mr. Champions League there, when my bet for one the engineer year pa, we see Brian Abe for all tackles here. Now also for face sky. Nunti ene bet builder ne there in call for be year pa. Bet builder and yes maybe 3 or 4 options when I wait my fair frame. Wait my for options up to 10 or one game. 10 national game wait my tenacity player to score, yellow cards, passes, any BB, I bet my canin na boma. And then obey me a face sky ye MYBET.AFRICA. You are MYBET.AFRICA, but www.MYBET.AFRICA. Top right corner, I'll be on icon be or miaso, be on registration. You click registration. So first name be sa phone number. Ubo phone number ni shema. Normal phone number the mobile money transactions and I make boss you now they are shame. The next thing it will be sa username. Ubet me do nickname wa udin shame. But every time be to say udi nickname na udi ehyewa ebia na obi nso de eno akọ registered da Into now the number back me no be account. The next part your password. Obo password news to shemwa. And one number send you verification code. Now they verify your account. No, cause the same process. Top right corner on a login. You log in your bafema. Ube who say deposit or now the kakra to it. No call. That is games cost when and new bet builder option with 10 options from one game. At least you bet me now 10 or to 20 odds be. Now do 100 to 200 each year. With me a face game we do MYBET.AFRICA. Game ne cost na cash out options and so ebeba into we game no now monitor bet ne MYBET.AFRICA platform ne so na UTA and na me no so into cash out ne ba no wait me age more two cash out, that's the main cash out and a partial cash out no wait me AEB no eja de aka na kopem game ne wie enti no and MYBET for ede my enti ene Champions League ebe cost you MYBET.AFRICA platform ne so now on so face ka ewo.
All right. Ti my better education no. Aha, eno na yetumi di abro. Na si Ketokreku says one second vice.
Yes.
President de ma CAF na man for say good news at the my mu hu ne sen. Ebe boan ebe change your football nini.
Okay, so uhwe no dia ni change say ebe boan say bi eba be ye benya direct effect bi ewe in football ne so dia minjindi because say obey CAF president impuna ifi antutu nyama ya sene ebe ya ne be but the only thing is say obeboa especially in decision making in nyama obey Ghana any ewo the CAF meetings any CAF board ne so ene beboa but apart from that no eno nso ba be one bigger tax amani say sene wakwakoti na CAF board ne so no e say fie nso e say ofie timi ye because untimi ebia untimi siesi hu nkotena meeting na ebia ofie aye basasa nti I think eno nso beboa am ombetutu nyama ye na afide fie nyama nso aye but I think he being there near the back wa aboa. We've seen some of our CAF president get the chance to also be part of the CAF board ebie kwan ema Ghana enche bie du bie betimi nya Ghana ni bi obelidi this CAF positioner oba be president and so who benefits ni bibia ese Ghana kro ni nya no ebetimi nya nche be bona baso say wait me a rather particular position being the second vice of the CAF president ebetboa decision making ba komienu bi ebetimi aboa ma African continent in football no etimi aiden akoneni.
Yeah, Vincent Jenshana.
Yeah, I think that Kets Ababe the second Ghanaian GFA president or when you the CAF vice president role, no? And I think that is a very good news. Mekai when Anas expose any by and a lot of people when Anas are high by now. Okay, it's a higher two fees you can create question techi. So I mean with that phrases are people the Ghanaian public kind any Kets about occupy that role. No? Yeah, I mean it's a good news to Ghana football. I think that it will have a lot of influence on Ghana football, at least to a lot of games. And the African Championship on Bayer Ghana has it. He has helped a lot. My CAF president by and Kets occupying that position, and they was stepping down as the World Full Zone B president. And he said, "Won't mean training because the Ghana football, no, there's a lot to do, and they being the CAF president, the second vice president, today idea a bit me about. So to me, I think that I mean he's why are there? I mean before joining a committee, you know how he joined the committee so easily, being one of the 6 or 7 Ghanaian people to join the CAF committee and they near me now. But I think that it's a good news for you, and at least the Ghana Football Federation, especially we are also going to benefit something after all. And say the CAF rule no kwakwe no be in adwin and so the medical can say the Football Federation used to and yet Kets is the leader, but the Ghana football players, no, the executive committee, no, they also have to work hard to be sell many assignments. So when he also went to serve Okoko survey or CAF and when this such appointment, I think that a good news for Ghana football, and I think that so Tosso maybe time will come about be a first vice president and maybe so he should just the Bioko could it's a time I will say at least or work even more harder. You should even try and set an example, say the federation are doing this, the federation are doing this, and they were able league if you team of budget league, you teams of relegation if you can a title sponsor and name be at least the attention and the noise and cable cost no because at least of the way it's ball league number be any vision I shall not vision relegation if there's a lot of attention, and things would have been, I mean, more perfect for it. So I think that he deserves it, and congrats to him. He should also work harder, and it's going to be, I mean, a very good opportunity for Ghana football as well.
All right. Inti aha ane de show ni besi nyame adoma kwan bia so chena be saba na afedi aka chiri nyina yetumi de abremo. Yes, Ote Vincent nka, Ote Benedict nka. Yeah. Papa ye friend no Philip Lam. E ban say ombo tu pa the whole world opia ntumi no. Asaka ena chese produce show no ma bibia ekoye nyame adoma chena be se hia yakra.